Hi and very warm welcome at Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Following news headlines have been reported by world major English news channels and news agencies. So please watch it.
Tonight there is breaking news as we come on the air in the west. Two new back-to-back major storms moving in. Also breaking at this hour, the deadly plane collision in the west. Word of a Learjet coming in for a landing, veering off the runway, colliding with another jet in Scottsdale. First tonight, 77 million Americans under alerts right now. Snow, freezing rain, winds, treacherous driving. Both storms hitting across several states from the Midwest right into the east again. The first one tomorrow, then again on Wednesday. Washington, D.C. could get a half a foot of snow from this, then snow, freezing rain from Philadelphia to New York City to Boston. Ginger Z has the forecast. Also tonight here, a judge extends his block on President Trump's effort to get millions of federal workers to resign, take a buyout, or risk getting fired. And tonight, the vice president and Elon Musk are now openly questioning the authority of some of these judges. And now the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been halted. Workers told to stay home. That bureau set up to protect Americans from banks becoming too big to fail and to protect them against risky mortgages after the banking collapse and Great Recession. But is it over? Tonight, President Trump set to enforce a 25% tariff on steel and a new 25% tariff on aluminum coming into this country, meant to help American manufacturers of steel and aluminum right here. But what it could also do when it comes to the cost of construction and the prices on everything from cars to canned goods. Also just in tonight, the pictures, reports of a Learjet veering off the runway after it landed, crashing into another jet. A ground stop. Right now, there are injuries reported, what we know so far. The shark attack, two young American women both attacked in the Bahamas. One of the victims now in need of a third operation. Tonight, the image just in, the reporter found dead in his hotel room. He'd been sent to New Orleans to cover the Super Bowl. Tonight, the Daily Mail with the last known images so far of that reporter. A woman arrested in the case and what they say happened. Tonight, egg prices and now the egg shortage here in the U.S. Two major stores now limiting the number of eggs you can buy. An egg stolen from Washington State to 100,000 stolen in Pennsylvania. The disturbing images, the father accused of knocking down two teenage referees. A former Disney star hospitalized tonight after saying she was shot in the face while target shooting. How this happened. And tonight, here's the new hero of Philadelphia. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, one-on-one, right here tonight.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Right now, the new front in the trade war. Moments ago, President Trump imposing 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, saying they protect American jobs. But will they also raise prices? The backlash in Canada as some say they feel betrayed and won't buy American. The legal showdown over President Trump's cost-cutting efforts. A federal judge ruling the White House defied his order to unfreeze billions in spending. The new protests tonight, and Laura Jarrett of the emerging legal battles. The winter storm threat, the nation's capital bracing for deep, cold, heavy snow and ice. The flood threat in the south, and another major storm right behind it. Ceasefire in jeopardy. Hamas signals they may not release more hostages. It comes after the uproar over the condition of 3 Israeli men released this weekend, and President Trump's controversial new proposal about Palestinians displaced by the conflict. After the fires, the toxic debris processing site raising concern, while local officials say they were blindsided. Our investigation. Good news for parents, the potential treatment for kids with mild peanut allergies.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois. President Trump today began the fourth week of his second term. And in a new CBS News poll, more than half of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he is doing. And 70%, whether they agree with him or not, say he is doing exactly what he promised to do. That includes cutting spending.
But how he's doing it is another matter. The president made Elon Musk a kind of sheriff of Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, to downsize just about everything. Our poll found Americans evenly split over how much influence, if any, Musk and Doge should have over government operations and spending. And a federal judge has blocked their access to a Treasury Bureau that, among other things, sends out government payments, including Social Security.
So what is this little-known bureau, and what is the Musk team looking for? Questions Major Garrett is about to answer. Major?
Good evening, Maurice and John. It's called the Bureau of Fiscal Service, and what they're looking for is what people in Washington have been looking for decades: waste, fraud, and abuse. This quest is not new. The methods, however, are.
Come here, Elon!
President Trump has given the world's richest man a temporary White House job and an ambitious order.
Over the weekend, as the Dems were melting down like Pelosi's face on a hot day, Trump speaks to Putin, makes plans for Iran, and announces that he's the new chairman of the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The Kennedy Center is funded by us, of course, and as usual, has become a bastion of left-wing causes, including drag queen shows for kids. It's like MSNBC opened up a theater where Sam Brinton and Admiral Levine had boxed seats. Trump even signed an EO designating February 9th as Gulf of America Day. What do you make of that? Definitely not a sombrero. He even got rid of the penny. Now I'll have to give the homeless Canadian pennies. So it's no wonder the left is more off balance than Kamala leaving happy hour. And watching them try to figure it out reminds me of watching Joe try to put on his jacket on a windy day. Trump signed more EOs in 10 days than any predecessor did in their first 100, and the media is flailing. The Washington Post published this scary headline: Trump's second term is all about curtailing government's power and reach. As if that's what he wasn't elected to do. And by calling it out, they just admitted that he's no fascist. But they're even too stupid to realize that. Brilliant men like me have to point it out to them. Oh, thank you. You agree. Sometimes I have to point it out myself. I mean, what fascist ever sought to shrink government? Did Hitler, Mussolini, etc.? They expand, never shrink. Truth is, as one side of government tries to expose waste, fraud, and abuse, the other side is the waste and fraud itself. No wonder they view Doge as an act of terror. So ask yourself, which side is more useful? The one which is stuck in an era they just can't get out of? Or the other one? No one in the media or the left can comprehend the USAID scandal because they never had to. They never had to be efficient or make a profit or prevent loss. They think they're scoring points by defending the funding of Politico while hurricane victims get kicked out of hotels.
On this Monday night, critical Canadian exports hit with new punishing tariffs. The U.S. president's expanding plan to put America first.
Tariffs are going to help.
Where does this leave Canada, one of America's largest steel and aluminum suppliers? The wide-ranging ripple effects of tariff threats.
That uncertainty is not healthy.
As Canadian businesses already start cutting back. The brains of London cabbies, why they're attracting the attention of Alzheimer's researchers. Plus, it's cuddly and comforts colicky babies.
Just to help the other people.
The Made in Canada teddy bear, now on the world stage.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thank you.
Today, Donald Trump considering an exemption for Australia from universal steel and aluminium tariffs.
We actually have a surplus. It's one of the only countries which we do, and I told him that that's something that we will give great consideration.
Also ahead, Hamas delays the release of the next round of hostages, accusing Israel of breaching the ceasefire deal. River levels rising as heavy rain falls in already flooded communities in North Queensland. And experts warn of a surge in cyberbullying at the start of the new school year. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ross Childs. Donald Trump.
Hello and a very warm welcome to you watching Daybreak here on France 24. These are our headlines. Thousands of people take to the streets of Tel Aviv calling on the Israeli government to maintain the ceasefire and secure the release of their loved ones who are still being held hostage by Hamas. Hamas has threatened to delay the next scheduled release of hostages set for Saturday, saying Israel is violating the truce deal. World leaders, including US Vice President J.D. Vance and China's Vice Premier, gather in Paris for the second and final day of a summit on AI. The French President Emmanuel Macron saying he will reduce red tape to allow France to remain competitive in that arena. A change in government and the proposition of a new constitution when the new cabinet is formed. Sudan's army chief says there will be a new technocratic wartime government set up, but parties are split on whether to work with or without that military.
But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Josh, thank you very much. We start with some breaking news this hour that assisted dying cases would no longer have to be signed off by the High Court under changes suggested by the bill's supporters. The proposed law currently says a High Court judge must check each person is eligible and has not been coerced into making the decision to die. Kim Leadbeater, the Labour MP behind the terminally ill adults bill, is expected to bring forward amendments for a so-called Judge Plus system after hearing concerns during expert evidence sessions last month. In other news, images of illegal migrants and foreign offenders being deported from the UK have been released for the first time as the government confirms 19,000 foreign nationals have been removed from the country since Labour came to power. The unprecedented move is part of a drive by the new government to try to show it's taking tough action on those with no right to live or work in Britain. However, only a tiny fraction of the thousands of deportations include those who crossed the English Channel illegally on small boats. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says rules need to be respected.
Well, we need to prevent these dangerous boat crossings in the first place. That's why we are today in Parliament debating new counter-terror style powers to go after the criminal gangs, and we also need to clear the ridiculous backlog that we inherited from the Conservatives, so that also small boat arrivals who have no right to be in the UK can also be returned as part of the increase in returns and enforcement that this Labour government has been setting out. We have to make sure rules are respected and enforced.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves has faced calls for meaningful tweaks to planned inheritance tax on farmland from Labour backbenchers. Farmers from across the country descended in London today in protest against the government's family farm tax. The rally, organised by Save British Farming, comes as a petition calling to keep current inheritance tax exemptions for working farms has reached almost 150,000 signatures. Labour has previously insisted it will not make a U-turn on its inheritance tax plan, saying that farmers are the backbone of Britain. And finally, a second Labour MP has been suspended from the party for comments made in a WhatsApp group that saw a minister lose his job. Burnley MP Oliver Ryan's been suspended by Labour over his membership of the WhatsApp group containing offensive comments, the party said. Mr Ryan has apologised for unacceptable and deeply disappointing comments. Ashley Dalton, Labour MP for West Lancashire, has been appointed as a minister in the Department of Health and Social Care after Andrew Gwynn was sacked over the weekend. He was also found to be a part of that WhatsApp group. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. It's time for Headliners.
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Rani Samtani. At this hour, Donald Trump issues an ultimatum to Hamas. Free all hostages by Saturday or the ceasefire deal is off. The truce hangs in the balance after the militant group accused Israel of violations. The American president also upping the risk of a multi-front trade war with more tariffs. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, though, says an exemption for Australian aluminium and steel could be on the cards. And the India Energy Week opens in New Delhi, shining the spotlight on sustainability and
A few days after the M23 rebels took control of Goma, the movement held its first public meeting on Thursday. Thousands of residents gathered at the Unity Stadium to hear the message of the rebellion's leaders. Our aim is to bring you peace. All the children of Goma, sleep in peace because you have been freed. Rebel leader Cornelius Nanga openly expressed the M23's ambition to advance towards Kinshasa, the capital of Democratic Republic of Congo. You have been liberated. Do you want us to stay in Goma? No. We are going all the way to Kinshasa. I insist. We will go all the way to Kinshasa. The current situation has sparked various reactions from the Goma inhabitants. As the M23 AFC has just made the change, we want them to take all the agents who had taken the state service hostage, because we don't want the same system anymore. They all have to be changed. I followed the message from the new authorities. They have promised good things, but we remain cautious to see if they will really put into practice what they have said. With regard to their speech, we followed what we, the population, wanted to hear. The M23 group, backed by Rwanda, continues to make progress in eastern Congo despite a unilateral ceasefire announced this week. On Wednesday, the rebels seized control of the town of Nyabibwe, located 100 kilometers from Bukavu, the provincial capital of South Kivu. The situation remains tense, and a meeting is anticipated this weekend between Felix Tshisekedi and Paul Kagame in Tanzania. The European Climate Service Copernicus reported that January experienced yet another record heat month. In January 2025, the global temperature was 1.75 degrees Celsius, an equivalent of 3.15 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than it was before industrialization.
When we look at January 25, one of the features when you look at the global map, you see very bright red, so dark red anomalies, which are showing much warmer than average over the Arctic. So we know that the anomalies that we saw in January in the Arctic were extreme. They're on the order of 20 degrees above the climatological average.
This was the 18th month in the last 19 where temperatures reached or exceeded the internationally set limit of 1.5 degrees Celsius, an equivalent of 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels.
The rate of change that has been caused by humans burning fossil fuels is faster than any change that has been recorded in our Earth's history. So by far and away, the largest contributing factor of climate change is the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And this is primarily due to burning of fossil fuels, but it's also due to other factors like deforestation, land use changes, that kind of thing.
Copernicus records date back to 1940, while US and British records date back to 1850, indicating this era as the warmest in 120,000 years.
Iran's currency, the rial, plunged Wednesday to a record low of 850,000 rials to $1 after US President Donald Trump ordered a restart to the maximum pressure campaign targeting Tehran. A decade ago, the rial stood at 32,000 rials to $1. When Donald Trump shows any hostility towards us or talks about war or anything against Iran, the dollar exchange rate goes up. I wonder what our internal affairs and things we buy and sell inside the country have to do with Trump's remarks. And when Trump shows leniency, the dollar rate goes down. That's why I think, for the sake of the people, we should be more balanced. We should be friends with the neighbors and the outside world, not their enemy. The Riyadh's decline has been accelerating since 2018, when Trump withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal and reimposed crippling sanctions on Iran. Our issues are more internal than related to foreigners. We must rely on ourselves. The enemies are bitter or hostile with us. They hate us, and they do whatever necessary against us. We must make ourselves stronger. We should get on our feet and fix our economy. At stake are potentially billions of dollars with the help from Iran through crushing sanctions and the future of a program on the precipice of enriching weapons-grade uranium.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shekel 5858. I am Amir Shekel. Have a good life. Bye-bye.